Welcome to the Borealis Experience. I'm your host Aurora. It is Sunday afternoon and I'm very happy to be spending some time with you today. I hope you're doing well. I hope you get some time to rest and relax, reflect and connect. Today I want to talk about identity. How attached are you to your identity? I'm just reading this awesome book that I will post in the show notes. It's called The Wisdom of the Toltecs, the 4 attachments, 4 levels of attachments. And it really made me think and reflect about my behavior and about the behavior of some people out there. And that's why I'm going to talk about this with you today. How attached are you to your habits, to who you think you are? Maybe you are a smoker and you strongly identify as a smoker. This is who you are. This is who you were in the last couple of years, and you will be in the next decade as well. Maybe you are a vegan. Just recently you decided to not eat animal products anymore. So now every time you dream about a sandwich with ham or a juicy steak, you feel extreme guilt and rage against you. And the same with people who live around you and are eating whatever they want. You feel resentful towards them and you don't want to have anything to do with them because they don't know what they're doing. They're being careless and so on. Maybe you are a person who is very successful in life when it comes to their career, and you are just a goal-getter and accomplishing one thing after the other. And on days, it doesn't have to be a Sunday, but on some days where you don't feel like you can really bring it to the table, you feel guilt and shame and awful about yourself, and maybe you binge eat then or punish yourself in the gym. Because you have to be that person, you have to play that role. And maybe you hear in the voice of my tone already that I'm being not sarcastic, but I just want to show you how some people get really ingrained in something and then they only see black and white. Same goes for religion and politics. There's people who are very lean back and open-minded and are very curious and interested in hearing what other people think, especially from opposite angles. But then there's people out there who are very, very judgmental and opinionated, and they really close themselves up to the beauty and juice of life if they become so narrow-minded because of one little aspect of their lives. They make it such a big deal and become very selective, very harsh. And it is really very, very important to think about it. What identifies you? Do you identify as a very sporty person and you look down on people who are more artistic and not very sporty? Or are you a musician and you just can't wrap your head around a soccer player who's only about his soccer? Maybe you can see already how it can deeply separate people if they are too attached to a habit and too attached to some beliefs that they have. So maybe you want to think about a girl who was always skinny and sporty, and now she just became a mom and she put on a little bit of weight and is there for her children, is a wonderful wife, a wonderful person in the community. But she just can't get over herself that she's not that high-strung sportswoman anymore and feels shame and guilt towards her body and is very closed up when it comes to sensuality and sex because of that. Well, isn't that such a sad story? And it is only because she is so attached to the body she once had, the body that brought her success and maybe even approval from others. So it is very important that we become aware of what we are strongly attached to and soften the lines if we find out that we are very attached to something. It is really very important, especially nowadays, to see that there's always the opposite. What I mean by that is maybe your brain is wired to think of worst case scenarios all the time. Well, you also have to know that the best case could happen. And the same thing is with opinions, that a person who is part of a conservative party has the same motives, the same intentions as the person from the Democrats. They both have families they want to feed, and they might have grown up in very different ways, so that they have these ingrained beliefs now that separate them from other people. And to mention politics is very weak, I know, and it's just something that came up in my brain. But the one example I like best is the person who became a vegan and is now totally judgmental towards others and doesn't see that every person is doing their best. Yeah, I might be eating meat, but maybe I don't use plastic bags, and maybe I'm super careful with my water consumption. Maybe I don't drive a car instead. Like, you can be passionate about something, but you cannot run around and make other people feel shitty because they didn't make the exact same decision. You have to see that every person is living her or his own battle. And if you want to share with them that you have a good experience being a vegan, and if you're super healthy now and you overcame sickness because of changing your diet, then that is inspiring. And that's when people are going to listen. But you can't force other people to see the world the same way you see and to create separation that way. Because all we do in clinging to our attachments and our identity is pushing people away that might not have the exact same beliefs and values. And it's sad because we are made of so many different parts, so many little mosaic stones that we would terribly miss out if we were to push people away who are not on the same page with us. We can learn from them, we can be curious about them, and then have an even better view on the world. And this is really something I want to achieve with my little podcast here, is that we reflect about every little angle that there is when it comes to behavior and relationships, and approach people with different beliefs, with curiosity. And if there is a person, for instance, who is racist and you think they're making racist remarks all the time and you're just so annoyed by them, well, instead of calling them out, or of course call them out, yeah, it has to be talked about, but instead of making them feel shitty right away, try to understand what that person went through. Racism is the number one thing where people react out of fear and out of uncertainty and are aggressive and shitty with each other. And in order to overcome that, we have to bring curiosity and understanding to the table. And then we can dissolve that fear. That fear will not be dissolved in calling them bad people and pushing them into one corner. labeling them. We have to go in there, as ugly as it seems, and ask questions and be curious and dissolve that fear from the inside instead of trying to destroy it from the outside. So take a couple minutes now and be with yourself and think about all the things you might be attached to and those things you might have very dear and close to your heart, but are pushing other people away and preventing you from living a juicy, fulfilled life. Thank you so much for listening to the Borealis Experience, and I'll be out there tomorrow again. Bye-bye.